Hello everybody, it's Gail here. Well, I'm out here in my shed and it's always 19 degrees now. It's nice and warming up. When I first came in it was 7.6, I think, something like that. I have decided to make a quilt from the start, and I'm using my collection of red and pale fabrics, which I've shown you before, but here's the pile that I've not cut up yet. So some of them are French General. I think most of them are French General. I spent the other day ironing these all, and I cut half out. Well, I cut a selection, and then I made I made the blocks. Now I've decided, I know I saved all these to make red hearts appliqued on various pale backgrounds, but I've really had a wanting lately to make an hourglass quilt, not a sand timer, an hourglass quilt. So that's what I've been doing. I've been cutting up fabrics. So first of all I thought, right, I'll cut them into 10-inch squares. They just fell off. I'll cut them into 10-inch squares and I'll make them 10-inch squares. So I did, but they were too big. They were too big, you know, the squares. So I thought, well, I'll make them smaller. So I did. I made them. Hang on, what have I done with them? I made them this size, and I thought, gosh, I'm going to need hundreds at this size. What size is that? 5.5. So that's going to be 5-inch squares. So that put me off a bit. So I also made some tiny whiny ones. Here they are, with what's it called? A charm pack. These started off as 5-inch squares and they're now 4.5. I mean, they're tiny whiny, aren't they? I can't show you the big ones because I've cut them down, which was more difficult than I anticipated. I think they were about 9 inches square by the time I'd done them, and I've cut them down to 7. But these things, they don't match at the corners. This one was more successful. Well, still doesn't match at the corners. So I might throw them in the bin. I've thrown some others in the bin already. Anyway, I thought, right, I also did them in 2 different methods and I couldn't remember which method resulted in what size, because they were all, apart from the charm squares, they were both, this one and the very big ones were all done. Oh no, it's this one, isn't it? And the very big ones were all done with 10-inch squares. So I thought, right, I'm not making more so that I can work out which way I ended up with what square size. So I cut up material into 8-inch squares and I ended up with this size, which is 7. Now I don't know if I'm going to have to cut them down to 6.5. We'll have to see. They're about 7, more or less, kind of 7.25. Some are just under 7, but you know, there's always a bit of seam allowance, isn't there? So and you get 2 out of 2 8-inch squares. So I don't think that's French General. I think that might be William Morris. Most of the lights are William Morris. That's a William Morris. So I've got 25 anyway, and I've just spent a good amount of time ironing them and cutting off the dog ears and things like that. So I've come in the shed now to cut out some more, because, you know, I was just experimenting really, and I've done these by hand in the house. You can see my by hand stitching. So I drew lines on the back so that I knew I was doing them, you know, in the correct place. They're rejects. Are they rejects? I don't know. I've mixed them all up now. Anyway, this is with cream, whereas the ones I'm doing are kind of, some of them are silver, you know, grey. Anyway, I've got to sort out how many I need to make what size of bed cover. and I am thinking the latest catalogue 57 from Moda, which my lady that I buy all my Moda fabrics from has shown me. The newest range due out in September, or well, we'll be getting it in September anyway. It's got some stripes, you know. She measured them. I think they're 3 inches wide, and then they've got another inch on each side. So what's that, 5 inch wide? And I'm thinking of buying a few lengths of that to go around, you know, as a border. Not decided yet. So I've got a lot of working out to do, a lot of maths. How big am I going to make the actual top of the bedding, and how big will that make it, so that I can work out the lengths of the borders and how much will that cost, because cost's an important thing these days. And I've been very annoyed this week, you know. Being as I don't get to the shops, I do my ordering online, as you know, and I alternate between mostly Asda and Iceland because I like different things for each shop, and occasionally I'll order from Ocado if they've got some good deals on, because they do some very nice meal deals, you know. You can get a nice stir fry for £7, and that includes the meat, or the protein as they call it, because you know some of it isn't meat, and a sauce and stir fry vegetables and noodles for 2 people for £7. So I quite like that, but that depends if that offer's on. And then of course you have to fill it up with £40 worth to order it online, so I don't do that quite so often. At Christmas, you know, you have to spend £90 to get their delivery, and you have to pay for the delivery, whereas it's free with Iceland, and I only I do click and collect with Asda. Occasionally they deliver, but usually my husband will pick it up on his way in from work, and if you pick your day carefully, it's only 50p delivery. Anyway, I was shocked a few weeks ago to discover that Iceland cucumbers were £1, and they were only something like 49p at Asda. Thought I'll have to keep my eye on this. So this week we had Asda delivered, and I ordered some. No, we didn't. It was Iceland. I ordered some. What are they called? Spring onions, and I think they were like 89p or something. And then I discovered Aldi sells spring onions for 29p. So I've told my husband, I think I'm going to send him for my fruit and veg shopping to Aldi, because they're so much cheaper. But I've still got to make up my order. I mean, usually it's way over £40, but without my fruit and veg, it might, you know, I might struggle to get to £40. Anyway, I've got a lot of working out to do, haven't I? I've got to decide about my shopping, and I've got to weigh up what I'm going to do with this quilt. Although I am glad I've actually started doing some work with this red and cream fabric that I've had saved up for a long time. And while I'm doing that, I'm actually lying in bed at night thinking that I might, for my birthday last year, my big 6-0, the antenatal group that I go out with, they gave me some money, and I spent it all on the newest range of Tilda fabrics. And I've been thinking about, you know, doing the diamond quilt. You may have seen it, it's by Kath Fassett. He has lots of variations of this diamond quilt, and it's big diamonds like this, with a board around, just set next to each other. And I like that kind of thing where there's no contrast, you know. And well, there is a contrast because he usually borders the fabrics of the diamonds with spotty or stripy or whatever, but it's not white. He doesn't put white in his quilts, hardly ever. Anyway, I'm thinking of using my Tilda fabrics in a diamond quilt. Now, why am I thinking that when I've only just started this one? My mind, as well as lying there worrying about the cost of spring onions. Anyway, on a different front, I have finished my grandson's jumper, and he was very pleased. My daughter was worrying that he wouldn't like it, and he wouldn't be interested. But every time he comes, and he comes every Sunday, and occasionally a day in between those, or an hour or two after school. Every time he's come, I've held it up against him, or as it's got sewn together, put it over his head. Last time he tried it on, I think it had it went over his head, and it was sewn at the shoulders, and I'd done half a sleeve. And I'm measuring bits and putting pins in, and not safety pins, I mean, at where the armhole should come and everything, and it is a bit long. It will keep his bum warm. Lots of room in it. I made the neck smaller because everybody was complaining the neck was way too big. It was quite wide, but I put a few more rows and anyway, I said to him this week when he came on Sunday, I've got something for you. And he said, what? And I got it out the bag. Oh, it was in a plastic bag, nice and a see-through plastic bag, you know, with a zippy thing. He said, is it my jumper? I said, yes. So I got it out, and he's like, I said, do you want to try it on? He says, yeah. So we over your jumper. He already had a jumper on and a t-shirt. Yeah, he says. So I put it on over his t-shirt and his jumper, and he really he quite approved. The sleeves came to the wrist, kept his bum nice and warm. There was no pulling on his head. So he then discovered a couple of years ago we bought him a game set. It was like a dartboard, but it's not a dartboard, and these balls with Velcro on, and you threw them at the dartboardy thing, and scored, and the winner got the most points. Although he was lucky if he actually hit the dartboard, and used it more as a bat than anything else. But he enjoyed throwing the balls that stuck on it, and they were very light, only about, I don't know, 1.5 inches. So they were also used for throwing at each other across the living room. I told you about our throwing across the living room game. We throw all sorts of things, balls of socks, toilet roll tubes, and sticky balls, various things that I buy for him. We throw them. It's me and him against Popsy, and we usually have to we use cushions as shields and things, because he's quite a severe thrower, and we're mamby-pamby throwers, you know, and very rarely get him. Anyway, the Christmas before last, we bought another 50 of these balls, because I think it came with 20 or something, and you know, they get lost very quickly. I mean, I know I don't do a lot of housework. God knows where they've gone. Anyway, we bought another 50, and there's perhaps about 20 of them left now. Anyway, he discovered that they stuck to his jumper quite well. So I have taken a photograph, but I can't show you because it's on my phone. I'll have to get it printed. So he posed for photographs with all these sticky balls stuck on his jumper, and he also discovered that his sister, we have this wicker box behind the living room door, and it's full of rolls of wrapping paper, and she loves pulling out the rolls of wrapping paper and going around hitting things with it. Anyway, there was one that was just the inner cardboard, and she'd been chewing on the end of it and everything, and he discovered that if you stuff one of these balls with the sticky on down the end, it just kind of balances and goes in a little bit down the end of the tube, you can flick it like that and it flies out the end. And that was fun, until he discovered that they stick to our curtains as well. So it was sticky ball throwing weekend. Anyway, he was too hot after about 45 minutes, so we took it off and sent it home with him. But yeah, I think he likes it, so that's quite an achievement, because you know, he is a bit of a fuss pop. But you know, he chose the colour, and he did ask for it, because I'd made one for his sister and one for his cousin, and he's a very fussy about what clothes he wears. And he said to me, are you going to make me a jumper, Granny? So I said yes. So we chose the wool, and I started making it, and I've really not followed a pattern. I mean, I started off following a pattern, but it you know, I don't want it to be like that pattern. For a start, you have to do a stitch around the back of the something cable, I don't know, and I'm not stitching anything around the back, that's too complicated. So I missed all the fancy stitches out, so really I was only following the measurements. And when I made the jumper for my granddaughter, it ended up miles too big. I had to it was hanging off like it was a one-sided thing, so I had to redo the neck. She's got like a really big kind of cowl neck on it, and now, and I cut about 3 inches off the sleeves and just hem them with, you know, it's quite difficult. You know how easy it is to undo crochet? You just pull on the thread and it goes and it undoes. If you try and undo it from the bottom, because on these tops and jumpers, I crochet into the actual body of the cardigan or jumper, So I start it at the top. So the cuff at the end of the sleeve is the bottom of the, is it? Maybe, no, in fact, it's not. I don't really like doing the cuffs. And I was saying to my husband, I hate doing these cuffs, because previously when I've done ribbing in crochet, I start with the ribbing, and that's what I've always done, and then done the sleeve or the jumper or whatever. And this pattern was telling me to do it the other way, and then add the cuff on the end. And adding the cuff like you add the neckline is not as easy at all. So these sleeves that were dangling off her hands, they were rolling them up, but she was unrolling them. It got returned, and I cut 3 inches off, like that, snip. And I thought, oh, it's all going to unravel, I'm going to have to be quick. And you know, it does not unravel from the bottom. It only unravels backwards from where you're sewing. So if you do your ribbing and then start crocheting, and you think, oh, I want less ribbing, it doesn't flipping undo, I'll tell you. Anyway, I rehemmed them, and it fits her all right now. And now my eldest grandson has got a nice one, and my youngest grandson, he's got a nice one as well. So I've had a request now to do a cardigan for my granddaughter. So I think I'm going to use that bright pink wool up there. I think I have got some kind of dusky wool as well. I'll get them both down and see what the wool's like. It's all from Aldi, or some of it is from the range. They sell packs of wool as well for, you know, little bits of money. I don't like to spend. I mean, I really want to. I found a cardigan pattern for me made out of you know, squares, grandmother's squares are they called? I can't remember. And I want to make that with really fine wool, but I'm really not wanting to pay them money that they charge for proper wool in a fine, you know. I don't want to do it double knit, I want to do it 4-ply. And I'd like, is it mercerized cotton? Mercerized cotton. Has a nice sheen to it. But no, I'm not willing to pay that much money for an adult garment. No. I made this, you know, this is crochet. I made this, oh no, it's not, it's knitted. It just goes to show, doesn't it? Now, I made them for my friends for Christmas, and I made me one. This is mine. And they said, what is it, Gail? What is it? I said, it's a thin scarf. You know, you can, just when you have a little gap, it's a thin scarf. Or you could sew it on, I suppose you could sew it round a neckline. That would look pretty, wouldn't it? Or you could put it on your, sew it to your pillowcase. It took ages, that did. Because you like knit, and then it's got like lots of increases and things, and you have to go up and down, not to the edge. Anyway, many times I have knitted things, and they've gone wrong. Anyway, his jumper, he took it away with him, and he wore it for a good nearly an hour, you know, 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And that was on Sunday, as you know, or maybe you don't, but on Wednesday and Thursday of this week, which Wednesday's tomorrow, the teachers are on strike at schools, and so we are having our eldest grandson for the whole day. He's coming at 7:30 in the morning, and my daughter finishes work at 4:30 when she's picking him up. Although I suppose if we're sick of him or he wants to go home, he can always go home to his dad if his dad's in, because he's a stay-at-home dad with our granddaughter. Anyway, that's going to be a long day, so we've planned part of the day. He's coming at 7:30, so that's plenty of time for us to take him out for breakfast. And I'm saying to my husband, we're not going out for a full breakfast, you know, I'm trying to save money. He's looking forward to like a big fry-up. We're having toasted tea cakes at a breakfast time, like 9 o'clock. So that'll be a nice treat for him. And they have we're going to the garden centre. They have a nice cafe there, and they also have a section full of things that I'm always wanting to buy, like books and things, interesting little kits and things for the grandchildren, and you know, combs with the name on, things like that. So he can have a look in there, and I'll buy him something from there, or a plant if he wants a plant. Not going out in the cold though, because my legs can't do that. I can't walk that far. And anyway, we're going to make a cake, hopefully a nice chocolate one, that then we can eat. And we're also going to pack up lunch. We're having sandwiches and a flask of tea and ginger biscuits. And we're going to go to the local park. There's a few parks. This one's, I don't know, 2-3 miles away, maybe a bit more. And people go sailing there, and there's a nice restaurant and stuff, nature trail, all sorts of things. And but there's a car park where you can see the water. Now I can't walk very far, so I can go to the water's edge with him and my husband, and throw bread to the ducks and watch the ducks for a bit. And then we're going to come back in the car and have a picnic. We're having sandwiches, and he has jelly, we'll have yogurts, maybe some cake if we've made it. And we're having a flask of tea to dip ginger biscuits in, because he likes to do that. So he doesn't really like to drink the tea, but he likes to dip. So that will be a nice thing that he'll like doing. Other than that, he can play with all the stuff we've got, or do painting, or go out looking for grubs and bugs, or make a volcano out of water. Shooting out of, he fills the watering can with water from the hose pipe, and it shoots out of the spout. That's what he calls a volcano. Anyway, there's all sorts of things he likes doing. He didn't get to go to, when he came on Sunday, my husband was working, so he didn't get to go to the charity shop. They usually go to the charity shop on a Sunday and buy some rubbish. The last rubbish they came back with was a bird cage. It was about that big. It had in it like a robotic parrot. So we sent it home with him. Some things, you know, they won't have at their house. Like he can only play with Play-Doh in our house. Doesn't matter if it gets drawn into our carpet. So there's a Play-Doh station on the kitchen table where he plays away with it, merrily away. Yeah, last time we played with it, we did a whole zoo of animals. There were 2 by 2 there was, because I had to do one and he did one as well. And they didn't look the same. But I had fun, sat there playing with him, and we have nice little chats. We do that when we're painting as well. I don't know. Oh, and he read to me as well. He's getting to be a really good little reader. He knows all the sounds, you know, of the letters and everything. He's not very keen on it. He can't have an ice cream now unless he does some reading, which is a bit mean of us, because, you know, the ice creams are there for him. But we have to encourage him to read. He doesn't want to do it. Anyway, getting back to my quilt, I cut out all these 8 inches, and on the back, you see I've drawn lines. The middle line is the cutting line, and the other 2 lines are my sewing lines. Now I don't normally do the sewing lines because I do it on the machine, and I use my 1/4 inch foot, just line it up with the middle, the cutting line. But I took these in the house to do by hand, so I thought, well, I better be accurate, you know, can't have some of them accurate off the machine and some rubbish that I've sewn. So so that's what I did there. Thinking, oh, what's that? Well, it's well, I'll show you what it is. I thought, I don't remember buying that fabric, but I was imagining the heart shapes that I cut out of this nice material I found for patching my quilts that I made out of my daughter's clothes 35 years ago. I don't know where that quilt is though. It's not in here. It's probably in the airing cupboard. So it's disintegrating, you know, not all of it. Just I didn't buy cotton fabrics or quality fabrics when I made those. I think there's 1 or 2 dresses that are disintegrated, and one of them was a really nice dress. I thought it was really quality, but obviously it wasn't. Most of it's, you know, polyester, so that won't rot. But the cotton I bought for the in-between patches, that's just disintegrated. So I'm just patching it. I'm sewing hearts over the top in various materials, and this is one of the materials. I didn't know it was there in front of me. Anyway, what else was I going to talk to you about? Yes, I'm making a cardigan for my granddaughter. I've started the red and white quilt. I'm doing, I think I am, the new range of whatever this is, I can't remember. Oh, it might be on this piece of material because my mind's gone. It's doesn't say. It's by Moda anyway. It's French General, that's what it is. French General. Yeah, French General. The new range that's coming in September has these stripes, and it has them in cream and red and pinky salmony colour and grey and a very pale cream. And I'm thinking I might buy a few yards of the red and a few yards of the grey, although I'll use the wider stripes on the red and just use the grey in between it. Not, it's got kind of flowers on, kind of pomegranate type flowers, and I don't think I'll use those in the grey. I'll use the bits anyway. If I order it and it arrives, I shall show you. Yeah, so that's what I'm involved with at the moment, and I'm going to start doing some more crocheting in a bit to make another grandchild article of clothing, and then it will be my youngest grandson's turn again. I made him a play cloth. I don't know if he plays with it, but when I made him his jumper, and it had a split shoulder with buttons, well, not buttons because my daughter doesn't like buttons, but I learnt to crochet a button, and I crocheted all these little buttons in different colours and just put them across the front, and he's always like playing with these crocheted button things. So last time I went, I made it. It was like a dishcloth, maybe 8 inches square or something, and I sewed lots of these crocheted buttons in different colours all over it, so he can play with that when he's not got his jumper handy. It could be a flannel in the bath, it could be anything really, you know, it's all made of cotton. So he will be after my granddaughter for another jumper, I should think. So apart from that, what have I done this week? This fortnight, actually. It's a fortnight since I saw you, isn't it? Well, I've got a doctor's appointment on Thursday. I waited a month. I think it was the 15th of February that they sent me an email saying, you have been put down for a doctor's appointment by telephone on the 16th of March. Thought, well, I hope I'm not going to die in the meantime. Can you hear my cat? She's scratching at the door. Let me in, let me in. But I'm not letting her in because all she wants to do is wander around and then go out again. So she can sharpen her claws, I don't care. Yeah, so he's phoning me up. So I shall be seeing about with him. What am I talking about? My swollen ankle. I've got one swollen ankle, and I know it's because of my bad knee. I haven't got a lot of circulation. It's been stopped by the inflammation in my knee, so it doesn't get a chance to get past my knee. So we're talking about that, my swollen ankle. I'll have to have a look what I asked to talk about. Who knows? I don't know. It was a month ago. Anyway, it was ongoing issues. I wasn't ill then. And what I was thinking about the doctors. I can't remember. I can't remember what's going on at all. And I've written in one of my books all the fabrics that I've ordered in advance, and I can't find my book. Can't find my book anywhere. Well, I'm useless. I really am. So here is the charm pack of the French General fabrics. See, there are lots of things, aren't there? These are quite grey. This is bonheur de jour. I think that means hour in the day or something like that. Best hour in the day. Anyway, I don't think there's any striped ones in there. You don't often see a striped one. That's a nice one. But these aren't big enough, so they're going to be for something else. That's a Bella Solid. I don't know what colour that is. How are you supposed to know what colour it is if it doesn't say? Anyway, I bought a pack of 2, you know, a plain one and a patterned one. So, yeah, what have I been doing? Nothing. I can't remember what I did last week. I'm going to have to start a diary, aren't I? Just so my life doesn't pass by in a nothing if I can't remember what I've done. I didn't go out for breakfast with my friend last Wednesday. She's been gone now about 3 weeks, I think, and she's not coming back till, well, not early April, about the 9th of April, I think. So I've not done that. I am going out for tea on Thursday. Oh, I know, last week it was my quilting group, but I didn't go because I wasn't feeling very well. And I was thinking, oh, I'll just take some tablets and go. And then it started snowing, and I thought, I'm not going. That was the final straw. I'm not, you know, huffing and puffing and having me painful knee and back while I get to my quilting group, and with the risk of slipping. No. And getting cold in the snow. Madness. So no, I didn't go. And, you know, and I get a taxi there. And when I first started going to that group, my taxi, which was probably 3 or 4 years ago, maybe more, my taxi was like $3.75. And I meet my friend for lunch before quilting, so I do dual purpose for the money I spend. And last time I went, it was £7.50. £7.50. It's a good job I do 2 things at once, isn't it? I couldn't just go. I mean, the opticians have been phoning me. When are you going to pick up your glasses? I'm thinking, well, I'm not just going to go just to pick my glasses up. And I say, oh, well, I'm in the town to pick them up on, I'll be there on Thursday. And they go, we've got no appointments on Thursday. Anyway, I've been and picked them up. And my husband drove the car, so it didn't cost me £7.50. But, you know, I mean, it costs enough to have lunch, to meet my friend and have lunch in the cafe. Because, you know, everywhere is so expensive, isn't it? It's not just like, you can't afford to buy a bottle of wine now. They used to have cheap bottles of wine, but now they're all not cheap enough. It's a worry, you know, all how much everything is costing. I mean, as I said, you know, with I'm having that magazine for my birthday. He doesn't want one for his birthday though. He'd rather have something far more expensive and unlikely to get. I know he wants some waders for doing his fishing, and they're a lot of money, and he can't buy them to fit him yet. He's got to lose some weight. Anyway, I've forgotten what I was talking about now. Money it was, wasn't it? It's you know, since I've had fabric free February, I've not bought anything. Well, I did today from my lady who sells Moda. Fabric Treasures for the UK, I think it is. Fabric Treasures UK on Facebook. You have to join. It's a private group, and we have club deals. And she was selling grunge special offer deals, so I ordered some. Don't need it. It's aubergine, which is a kind of purple, and you know I like purple, and I thought it'd probably come in handy. So I ordered the special club deal of 3 yards of aubergine grunge. But apart from that, I've kept in the habit of not buying things. I see things and I think, I don't need it. It's very true, I don't. But with my lady that I get the Moda from, it's not a case of need, it's, ooh, that's a good deal. That's a good price. Whereas, you know, obviously I don't need any fabric. I'm overrun. Oh, I've done this. I don't think I've shown you this. My Queen's Walk that I did when the Queen died. I've sewn big panels together. That's 4 blocks sewn together. So I've done all of them. Sewn them all together in 4s. See, it's hard. So I've taken the papers out of one, and because I thought, oh, it's just going to be so not enjoyable sewing great big panels like that together. So I thought I'll take the papers out. So I've took the papers out of 1 block of 4, and I don't know. I think the other ones I'm going to take all the papers out apart from the edges, because I thought I would just iron them and sew the edge strips, you know, together like we do normal patchwork. But they're not all stuck out. All the edges can't be laid flat because of the way I folded and sewn them together. So it's gonna one of the edges anyways. One of the blocks is gonna have funny edges, but I think all the other ones I'll take the papers out and leave the edge ones in until I've sewn it together. And I found I've done an enormous patchwork which is like 90 inches. I don't think it might be 90 inches square, or it might be something like 90 by 80, and that's paper pieced, and I've never got on with it. I finished the paper piecing, But taking the papers out, oh, it was terrible because I glued them in. They're really hard to get out. Anyway, I read somewhere about this little helpful hint. I don't like the word hack. It doesn't come naturally to me. So a helpful hint on how to get the papers out. So I tried it out. And what you do is you iron. I got me paper piece on my ironing board that I keep under the table. It's not a real ironing board, you know, it's a board for ironing on. And I got me no, what's it called? Hoover. No, it's not. Iron. My iron, which is fairly broken. That's why I have it. It won't steam or anything. It just turns on or off. That's all I want it to do. So I ironed over a patch of things, and some of them were popping out. You just give them a tweak and they pop out because it softens the glue. So it didn't take me long at all. It was quite pleasant instead of having to go rip with the glue. And I ain't got the patience to do stitching. Many years ago, before I got married, when I was about 17, I did do kind of a crazy hexagon patchwork. And when I got married, probably when I was in my early 20s, I threw it away. That's before I was inspired, you see. I was inspired by the front cover of a magazine that had Drunkard's Path. It had a Drunkard's Path on the front. I was waiting. My mother was queuing up in this newsagent's and I was waiting for her. So I was looking at all the magazines. And I was probably, I don't know, 24, 25. And I thought, oh, look at that. And when I bought the magazine and when I opened it, it had in it about 12, 15 different layouts for Drunkard Path, and it just amazed me. And they were all in different fabrics and, you know, having different effects, and that's what made me start doing patchwork, because I thought it blew my mind, you know. I am going to do a Drunkard's Path. I just haven't decided what range to do it with. And all that grunge that she was selling off cheap today, there was so much lovely greens. I don't need greens. I am very partial to buying greens, but I don't need them. I'm saying that here, you see, because I can see all these greens. Now, I've got my light there, so I'm hoping that's not going to fall over. You see, I've got all these greens. And that's just hanging around. These are my green, what they called, calf facet, because I was doing something to do with him there. And then I've got a whole load more. I've got greens everywhere because I do applique a lot of leaves, and I think, oh, there's a nice green. I like to have a variety, you know, everywhere I am really. I can see some there, but they're under a pile, so I'm not going to get them out because it'll all come tumbling down. Oh, I bought some dressmaking material as well. Can you see it's green? The background colour is green. It's predominantly green, only it kind of gets washed out, doesn't it, by the light. Anyway, that's very slinky, that. I don't think. I thought it would be nice for a summer dress. I need to stop. That was only £4 a metre, you know. I mean, how can you not buy it? It's viscose. I like viscose. And I mean, for instance, here I've got here a big pack of fabric. I've got this, which is a metre that goes with it, and I've got I think I've got five of these, and it's I've had this, you know, years. I could do that out of Drunkard's Path. That would be quite pretty, wouldn't it? I've got 5 of them. Oh no, I haven't. I've got 4. That's something different. The Sea and Me. Oh, I didn't know I had that. That it's all sea creature-y. Anyway, I'm surrounded by fabric that I need to make something with. I'm perfectly aware of that. And I have what have I bought? Some dressmaking fabric and some grunge. And it's, is it the 14th? So that's 2 weeks, and I've only bought 2 things. I think that's quite good on me. Here's some more green. I'm just surrounded by it. I'm surrounded by fabric. I love it in here. Anyway, going out for tea tomorrow. No, tomorrow's Wednesday, isn't it? Tomorrow we've got my granddaughter. Thursday I'm going out for tea with my friend. And I'm not doing anything after that, I don't think. Apart from, oh, Thursday I've got my doctor's appointment by phone, so I'll let you know how that goes. I mean, I have a very bright light on here. I mean, I know I have my ring light, but I also have this. I'll just take the plug out so you can see how bright it is. Oof. Well, I'll try to anyway. I could turn it off at the switch, but ooh, no, I can't get it out. Anyway, it's one of those sad lights. So in the winter, that goes there, and I can sit in front of it and do things and get the benefit of it. I do suffer in the winter, but it was very hard to use at home because I don't sit anywhere with it shining on me. You know, you can just imagine that in the living room while my husband's watching telly. It's bad enough having the, you know, the table side light on. I can see it reflected in the TV. And I did think about using it in the bedroom, but apparently it doesn't work if you close your eyes. So that wasn't any good. I've had it, I don't know, 10 years. And it does cheer me up a bit. So I keep it in the shed and I come here and spend a few hours every couple of days or so. Even if it's only, you know, to contemplate things or read my magazine. Old magazines, I've got them all over the place as well. I'm taking my magazines and books into the house. We're going to put them in the little bedroom. I've got lots and lots of bookshelves up there, and have more space to put my fabric on the shelves. But you know, I mean, it was enough effort to get them all out of the house and bring them here. Now we've got to take them upstairs as well as down the garden, tramping through the house on my new I bought a new rug years ago, and we actually put it down at Christmas. It covers like nearly the whole of the 40-year-old carpet we have in the living room, but it's very, very light, and I change my shoes as soon as I get to the living room door and put my slippers on. My husband, he just tramps muck in and out. He had a migraine last night, so he's a bit worried that there's something wrong with his brain. But he has these funny migraines, you know, where you can't move your arm and your leg. It's called something. It's got a special name. It not only can you not see, but you can't control parts of your body, which is, you know, very akin to this problem that he has with his brain, in that he keeps getting, well, he's had it twice, hasn't he? Cerebral vasculitis, which is very scary for him, and you know, parts of his brain didn't work when he had the stroke either. So he's a bit worried today. Although I took his blood oxygen, took his pulse, took his blood pressure, and added his blood sugar as well. And I squeezed one of my oranges through to get some sugar because it was a bit low. Not as low as mine gets. I have to eat biscuits to keep mine up. I'm not complaining about that. I'm not really complaining about anything, really. I mean, you know, what is there to complain about when you've got your own little shed with your bright light and full of treasures, and you've got grandchildren, and a nice warm house over your head if you put the heating on, and lots of food, even though it costs a fortune. There's nothing to complain about, is there? Not really. I've even got hot water. I did have no hot water for 2 years once, you know, because I didn't have the money to mend the boiler. I got quite used to it, boiling pans. It was a nuisance at Christmas, but boiled pans do the washing up. We had an electric shower, so that was okay. But, you know, I used to have my going to bed washes in cold water. I'm just thinking that because my sister's boiler's broken. She's having a new one put in on Thursday. And they haven't got electric showers, so I'm not going to visit her for a while. Mind you, I never do anyway. I'm not really a visitor. Anyway, I'm going to go. I've been on here for long enough. Oh, much longer than normal. 44 minutes. Anyway, I'm going quick now because I've probably bored you to death. I hope this leaves you well. I'll talk again soon. Bye bye.